Hi guys, back out on the bank and another couple of hours lure fishing. So today's setup of choice, sticking with the BFS in terms it's a BFS reel, but I'm scaling it up a little bit for pike or big perch if they're about, but I think it's most likely to be jacks and things like that. I'll talk a bit more about the gear in a bit, but the water's pretty muddy, lots of rain, so the conditions aren't great. So I'm going to start with a little crankbait actually, and see what that does. So we'll give that a whirl to begin with. If the water settles a bit, I've got some jig flies and soft plastics, usual stuff really. So we'll have a go. Hope you enjoy the video, and catch you on the bank soon. Cheers guys. The water is particularly soupy today, so as I say, I'll start with this crank. It's a floating crank, so it's got lots of rattle. It's kind of noisy, visible, which is certainly at this point, unless I can find a clearer bit of water, probably what's going to be able to work the best, I think. I've got some spinners with me as well, I think, in the box, so could always give one of those a go, but this is nice because it's floating, and if it's a bit weedy, it's nice and easy to control in this these kind of conditions, because you can just pause and let it pop back up to the surface. There we go, look at that. I might just try and land that one by hand. Just to avoid getting those trebles all tangled in the net. And we might even, let's just do a water release on that one, I think, guys. Easy off. No point messing about if we don't have to. Now guys, I had the option to try and net it, but as you will no doubt know, if you do net a lively little jack like that with loads of, well, there was only 1 out of the 6 treble hooks in that fish, you're potentially courting disaster. Right. Okay guys, here's a quick tip. You may have done this already anyway, but I think this is a little Savage Gear Crucian carp crankbait. It's one I've had for ages and ages and ages, but it was one of the, well, you can tell by the colour here, incredibly bright orange, and it was just too bright. I would never get bites on it at all. And with other lures I've done similar, so what I've done here is just taken a Sharpie and coloured it in with a Sharpie to add the black, a little bit of red, and some stripes there. So it does make a difference, believe me, to getting those bites, because it just breaks up the colour a bit more, makes it look a bit more natural. Not natural, but I suppose it resembles a bit more of a kind of an orange fire tiger type of thing. I think when the water's this colour, quite frankly, it wouldn't make any difference anyway, but when there's little less colour in the water, it does help. Hi guys, so I've just changed lures over again, so I have gone over to a jig fly, but I thought it's probably a good time just to share kind of a little bit on the setup. I mean, it's probably pretty obvious by looking at it, to be fair, but what makes this a BFS rig for pike, I guess, is it's probably more about the reel than anything else, although I'm not using a trigger rod. This is just a normal spinning rod. It's one of the old Savage Gear MPP2 range, and I think it's 7 to 23 gram casting weight, and I'm using the Abu Garcia Roxani BF8, which is a good starter reel for BFS fishing. It doesn't quite have the range for the really light stuff like a Shimano Aldebaran might do, but if you want to kind of get into BFS for perch and you want to chuck 3 gram plus lures, then it's absolutely fine for that. I think it's 15 pound braid I've got on it, 12 pound a single titanium trace, and that's it. Now the thing that is a little bit different to this is the standard BFS rods I normally use are a bit shorter. This is a 7'3" rod, so for pike it's got a bit more backbone. It's a little bit heavier in terms of that, but because it's paired with this reel, which is got really nice action, very smooth, it does cast the lighter lures. You know, I have no problem casting probably 3 or 4 gram lures with this. In fact, I'll give it a test in a bit just to see how well it does with that. But the little crankbaits I've been fishing with already, they're 4 or 5 grams, so technically below the range of the rod. And the nice thing about these MPP2 rods is their casting weight is usually a lot heavier than what's written on the blank. So although it says 23 grams, you could probably easily get away with 30 grams on that, not a problem. And it's a 2-piece rod as well. So there we go, guys. That's what constitutes I guess a BFS pike setup. Was that a pike? It kind of sounded like a pike, didn't it? Oh, there we go. That was a good strike. That took a while, didn't it, guys? That's a nice fish. Ooh, it's taking a bit of drag. We'll let it do that. Where's it going? Oh, there we go. Oh guys, that took a while, didn't it? Oh, that thing's covered in mites. It's gonna flip, let it do its thing. Ooh. Tell you what we'll do. We'll do this properly. Got the mat with me, so I'm just gonna put that back in water for a second. We'll get the mat out and we'll have a look at it. Trace is out, the hook is out. So now if it does flip and move, it's not gonna hurt itself on that. And there we go. I can just move that over to one side. Right, because as that was such a lively fish, guys, what I do not want to do is mess around with it. Once it's tangled like that, I couldn't keep hold of it then. So yeah, easier just to cut it, let it go, retie the braid, that's no big deal, and then give that some time in the water, and then we'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at it after it's had a minute in the water, let it rest. But that was lively. It is lively. That's probably, I don't know, guessing guys, maybe get on for £4. Just out of interest. I don't think I've weighed one for a long time. We'll give this one a weigh in the net and just see what it comes out at. I'll weigh the net afterwards, but I'm guessing this is about £4. Oh, so I don't know if you can see that, but it's coming out 4.8 in the net. So we'll have a look. I'm not going to mess around with this one too much. You can see there, guys, hopefully. It's a nice long fish. These mats aren't very accurate, but that's probably about, oh, got jaw stuck. That's probably about 70 centimetres, something like that. That's probably about 3.5 pounds, I'd say. Right, to make sure that one's ready. That's right, or she just touching a bit too big for the net. There we go. Well, hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, the session. It's probably going to be a bit short because the conditions have been not very good. But the main aim was to just go out, use this setup, kind of, I call it a BFS pike setup, but you know, it's a bit of a Frankenstein's what comes out of the fishing box kind of thing, but yeah, it's worked really well. It's chucked the lighter lures quite easily fishing with what, you know, most people would probably class that as a perch lure. It's caught me a nice pike today on that, and the crank as well, which was probably my favourite for the conditions because it's so soupy. But anyway, yeah, so hope you enjoyed the session. Probably get this out now. We're into kind of October and pike season. We'll probably have this out a bit more, trying some different lures out, hopefully with some slightly better water conditions, because that would definitely make things easier. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all back soon.